Holy crap, I haven't been fired yet. Tommy C has not come back and taken his throne quite yet because he's still in honeymoon bliss. But unfortunately for him, the Rangers put up a goose egg, just a dumper of a game last night. We're going to talk about that, much more. I got a special guest today in my crease. All that and more with In the Crease with Davey V. Let's go. That's right. It is In the Crease with Davey V. And as you see, I got someone in my crease with me today. Matty ISIS. What's going on, Matt Kazar, the man, the myth, the legend. It's our first time working together. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad. I wish I were in Spain too right now, but I'm stuck in cold, shitty Quebec.
Well, you have wine. There's wine in Quebec, no? I have no idea. Is that how they speak in Quebec? I have no idea.
But that's pretty accurate.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
Man. I'm worldly. I can't help it. I am a worldly man. I'm a man of the people. So how you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good, but first and foremost, I just got a notification. I'd like to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh,
and
yes, yeah.
if you were in Quebec right now, as a gift, I'd give you this Batman bobblehead. And this Kool-Aid.
That is amazing. That would be the best present ever.
And a big hug.
Oh, that would be the greatest gift of all. It really would. Yeah. Oh, God. Batman and Kool-Aid. Does it get better than Batman and Kool-Aid? I mean, honestly, I don't think it does. It feels pretty good running the asylum, huh? The boss is in España, and we're just fucking shit up. It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, but let's just hope he doesn't get a bit too disappointed. He'll fire us.
Yeah, he'll fire. It'll be bad. It'll be bad times. Bad times all around, but I'm sure he's not in a great mood today because, unfortunately, his Rangers took a beating last night. And it was just, the score doesn't indicate just how disheartening this loss, I think, is going to ultimately be for the Rangers. This is by far their worst defensive performance of the playoffs and possibly the worst defensive performance the entire season. What did you see last night in this game, and what do you think is going to happen in the future? Because this is crazy.
What shocked me is that the Rangers are basically a pretty defensive team.
Yes.
And how many? It's been 2 games now that they let in 6 goals or something.
Yes. Lundqvist in that defense has given up 12 goals in frickin' 2 games. That's not good. Nish bueno, kids. Nish bueno.
It's pretty surprising, but if Lundqvist can maybe step his game up a bit more, because they're scoring goals. Yeah. They scored 5 goals. Most teams would win if they score 5 goals. But
yes, usually if you're drawing up a blueprint for a game, score 5 goals. Usually you're going to chalk it up as a win most of the time.
Yeah, so if their defense can tighten it up, I know they have the players to do so. And it's a pretty entertaining series. It's like really good offense against really good defense. Yeah. And it gave what we got yesterday. So pretty entertaining.
I agree. It's a really entertaining series. It's not the series that we thought we were going to get. And mainly for a couple of reasons. One, Lundqvist has been very, very mortal in the last 2 games. And you have to kind of wonder if there's going to be a hook. We'll talk about that in a minute. But the bigger thing is, are we starting to be convinced that Tampa is a pretty freaking good team? Because I know Tommy C and I, basically since the beginning of the playoff, have been wanting to freaking just give Tampa the hook here, because we keep saying they're not as good as they're playing, but yet they keep winning games. So how good is Tampa Bay?
Well, when they played Montreal, I didn't find they looked that good. Yeah. I think it was Bishop that was keeping in it, but... Yeah. In this series, I'm really starting to see how much offense they have, because they have Johnson, who's been amazing. He's been all over the ice, and the Rangers made a huge mistake. They woke up Stamkos.
Yeah, Stamkos has been slow in the playoffs. That's well known, but he is really starting to get it together.
Yep. And if I'd be St. Louis or Nash, I'd be pissed off because they are yet to elevate their game.
Yeah, I don't understand that, why Nash continues to just disappear in the playoffs, but he's not finding it. And St. Louis might be done. I think Tommy C's right about that. I think most of the pundits that talk about it are right about that. St. Louis might be finished, over, out, gone, donezo. Very possible. What do the Rangers have to do to get back into this? Because I think this is a disheartening loss. I feel that this is a series-changing defeat here, because they got embarrassed, man. And you got to figure you got to split this home and home here. You got to take at least one in Tampa. But is it possible that the way they lost this game after jumping out to an early lead, could this be the end of the series for New York? Or is it too early?
I think it's still way too early. How many times has it been in the past where they came back from a 3-1 deficit?
Very true.
I think if they want to win, they just need to put it behind them. They're only down one game. If they win one more, it's 2-2. So put it behind them. Tell themselves that the past few games we haven't been the Rangers, and start playing defense.
Well, I think that's going to have to start with not just the defense. It's going to have to start with DeLay Vigneault, the head coach over there in New York. He has got to figure out a combination of defensemen that's going to work against this team, because like you said before, the offense has really woken up for Tampa, and it's not just Stamkos. You got Khrushchev, you got Palat, you got guys who are doing things, doing it big, and making it hard for the entire team. All four lines of the Lightning are playing well together. And we thought this was a one-line team, at least most people did. And they're not. They're not. They are 4 lines deep, and they're playing as well as anybody right now. And every round they're getting better. And that's scary, because I'm a Western Conference guy. So I don't want to see them in the next round. And the Rangers look very, very mortal. So I don't know. Something's got to give here.
Yeah, well, if Tampa and Chicago make it, I think those teams are pretty even when it comes to talent.
Yeah.
And they're both extremely fast. So I'd love to see that.
Speed for speed, if it's no other aspects to the game, I mean, right now, Chicago's having problems because of the size of Anaheim. If it's speed for speed, I'm not worried about that. I think we can play with anybody speed for speed. In fact, I think that's the biggest strength that we have. So I'm not worried about that, but I don't want to play. Right now, I want these two teams to beat the holy hell out of each other. I want New York to be exhausted, and I want Tampa Bay to be exhausted. Is that too much to ask? No. I don't think so. Switching gears a little bit to Lundqvist, the king, Henrique. Now, 12 goals in 2 games, as we talked about. Is it time to go back to Talbot? Do you, at least, if you're Vigneault, do you at the very least think about bringing in Talbot for Game 4?
I would, no, that's not an option.
Really?
Yeah, because what if by any chance Talbot has a bad game? What if Talbot also lets in 6 goals?
Yeah.
Then you both have 2 goalies that are very low on confidence.
That's true. That's true, but you don't want this series to go to 3-1 and Henry giving up another 6 goals or 5 goals in the next game and then having to really put the pressure on Talbot. If I'm head coaching here, I'd go with Talbot in Game 4, so it's a little bit less pressure than putting him in a Game 5 when they're down 3-1. It might be a little bit early to jump on that, but I don't know. 12 goals in 2 games. He either needs a rest or you need something different. And I know this is not all on Lundqvist. You cannot put – he's not seeing the puck because frickin' the Rangers defense is not doing a good job of clearing any lanes for him. So it's not completely on him, but he gave up some softies yesterday that Lundqvist does not usually give up, so that was a little weird.
Yeah, well, he brought them to the finals, and I'm starting to think it's Tampa the problem, because when Montreal played Tampa, I didn't find Carey Price looked good at all, except that one game. Yeah. So maybe it's just them that have too much firepower.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. In this game, in Game 3, I didn't feel it was just the fact that they had a better offensive output. They just had these shifts that just were full of impact. I mean, Braden Morrow, Brian Boyle, and JT Brown, they just out-physically worked every line they had to face against the Rangers, and they just wore him down. The Rangers getting physically beaten up, I think, has to be scary, because if you're beaten up, what can't you do? You can't skate fast. and the Rangers need that open ice. They need that speed to implement their offense. And without that, Nash can't get going, which he probably won't anyway. But St. Louis can't get going. Nobody can get going because they're just getting physically beat down. And that was the last thing I think people thought that Tampa was going to do to them. So I don't know. It's crazy. Predictions for Game 4. What do you think is going to happen in Game 4?
Jeez. Oh, I think it's been such a close series. I think Rangers are going to take this one. I don't think they're shooken up too much by the loss.
See, I think they might be. I think this one, the way it happened, the squeaker that shot on by Khrushchev. I hope I'm saying his friggin' name right. You hockey people and names, it's frickin' insanity. I don't know. Like your last name, I see Kasser. That's what I see, but it's Kazar.
Oh, I've been called so many things. There's teachers that called me Caesar once.
Yeah, hail Caesar. That's right. I like that too. I would do that because I'm an idiot. I'm a very simple man. You got to very simple. I like Joneses. I like Smiths. Can't mess that up. I'd find a way, but you can't mess that up. I think that this game, the way it ended with Khrushchev, the way that I think that goal is just disheartening for Hank, man. He gave it up in an ugly fashion. Should not have been a goal. Any other night, you would not think that that's a goal on Henrik Lundqvist. But it was. And giving up that many goals and playing outside of your comfort zone, I think it might have taken a toll. And this series might be done. I have a little bit of an inkling that the Rangers might be in trouble. And I'm sure Tommy C is losing his mind right now and saying it's not. Well, you know what? He might agree with me. I'm not sure. I'd actually like to talk to him about that. I'm going to interrupt his honeymoon because I want to hear what he thinks. Because he knows way more about the Rangers than I do. I watched the game, so I am an expert. But I think that they're going to lose Game 4, and they're going to be once again put in that position, just like they were against the Capitals, to come back and dig deep. And that's kind of when the Rangers play best. They need that back against the wall. You think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I think that's really a possibility. And I've said it before, I really hate both teams, so I don't care who wins. I think I'm starting to like Tampa a bit more.
Oh, yeah? Why is that?
Something about Kreider.
Oh,
not even because what he did to Price, just his face. He's got that weird frog face. Ugh. He looks like, you know, those stereotypical devils you see in cartoons with like the goatee and the mustache. Yes. It reminds me of that.
Or like the cartoon villain that will like tie the damsel in distress to the railroad tracks. And just grab the tip of his mustache and twist it. Yes, Gosling. What do we do today?
I knew I've seen him before.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
He's a caricature of a cartoon character. It's wonderful.
Exactly.
It's wonderful. You got to get your look from somewhere, right? Well, might as well be 1940s cartoons. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Moving on a little bit from the Rangers and this really, really tough defeat. It's kind of hard to move past it. I would like to just continue to pile on this because it's kind of funny. But we'll move on a little bit because some big things happen in the hockey world. Some that are going to have bigger effects on teams than others. Let's start with the biggest news out of yesterday. The Maple Leafs, and I almost opened the show with this, by the way, because I think it's a bigger story than the Rangers losing, even in disastrous fashion. Maple Leafs hire Mike Babcock for a reported, hang on to your chairs, kids, 8 years, $50 million. What the hell? Okay, first, damn, that's a lot of money. What do you think of this hire? Is it a good move? Well, obviously it's a good move for Toronto, probably, maybe, perhaps. But what do you think of this move for both parties, Babcock and Toronto?
Okay, well, first of all, for Babcock, if we just see where he's living, Toronto is an upgrade from Detroit. I think we're all good on that.
We all know it is hard times in the D, no question.
Yeah.
No question.
I was trying to think why he would go to Toronto because, you know, they have a history of firing a lot of coaches.
Early.
And apart from the money, I think he just really wants a challenge and he wants to see if he can turn that team around.
Yeah,
that's the impression I got. Yeah.
That's possible. But here's the thing. He indicated in the last week he did a press conference, or he was talking to somebody where he indicated that he hated losing and wanted to be a part of a team. He said these words, that have the opportunity to win immediately. That ain't the Maple Leafs, man. They are not close. They are not. They're not one season away. They're probably not even 2 seasons away. They need a complete overhaul. I don't know. And not only are they paying a ridiculous amount of money, and you have to figure the money is the deciding factor here. If he doesn't want to play somewhere where he's going to lose, well, $50 million might get him to accept a few losses here or there. But the Leafs aren't just giving up $50 million over 8 years. By signing him away from Detroit, the Leafs also must send a 3rd-round pick to Detroit as compensation. So you're locking in for 8 years. I don't know if all this money is guaranteed or not. I have no idea. I haven't seen the specifics on that. But you're committing $50 million, 8 years, and a 3rd-round pick, which could be substantial to a team that needs to rebuild like Toronto, for Babcock, a guy who is used to winning, who has won in the NHL with Detroit for a long time. In fact, he's coming from a franchise that has 24 consecutive trips to the postseason, and a guy who's used to winning in international level because he also coached Team Canada to a gold in the last 2 Olympics. Correct? That's I didn't mess that up, right? That's
no.
Yeah,
so that's
2010,
like
2014.
Yeah.
So, is this the right move for Toronto?
Well, for Toronto, it's an excellent move. You're getting a world-class coach, but you brought up the point that for Babcock, it would be ideal for him to go with a team that's ready to win.
Yeah.
And you'd think, why wouldn't he just stay with Detroit? Like, they have a much better team than Toronto.
Yeah.
So it's pretty weird.
I think his time in Detroit was coming to an end. I think he felt that. I do feel that he did need another challenge. I think that might have been part of it. But it's kind of funny that he would pick Toronto, where the challenges are going to be much more drastic. The only thing that I could see why it might have pushed him that way is because of Shanny. He gets to reunite with the guy that he coached. He gets to reunite with Brendan Shanahan, and that's great. But Buffalo reportedly might have been offering even more money to Babcock, has arguably better pieces to build with, and oh yes, I forgot the number 2 pick in the draft this year, which is probably going to turn out to be a franchise transcending player in Eichel. So,
Buffalo almost got McDavid. Buffalo almost got Babcock. They should change their name to the Almost.
The Buffalo Almost. The Buffalo Darns. Shucks. Oh, God. You know what? It's kind of fitting. I know Tommy C is loving this. You got to know he's loving this because Buffalo is, of course, the scourge of the universe.
It's like a cold Detroit.
It's almost kind of fitting for a fan base that, not all of the fans, of course, but a good majority, at least the ones who showed up at the games, were cheering for their team to lose. Well, guess what? You got 2 big strikes on you, buddy. Now, the only other, you've struck out in the draft. You struck out in head coaching. What if Eichel gets hurt in the preseason? It's just, this is so poetic on so many ways. Tankers or people who support tanking, this is what you get. Good job, Buffalo fans.
It's pretty funny.
What the hell, man?
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, Babcock, to kind of shift focus to Babcock a little bit, they are getting a great coach. I'm a little surprised that he didn't pick Buffalo, or I really thought a better fit was the position that got filled yesterday by, what's his name?
Todd McClellan.
Yeah, where did he go? I forgot already.
Edmonton.
That's right. I felt that might have even been a better fit for him. But I don't know. The thing is, he's not overly old. He's 52 years old. And just like McClellan, has great international experience. He knows how to communicate to younger guys. He knows how to communicate with veterans. He's been working with them in Detroit for a long time. The biggest question that he's going to have to ask himself is, how is he going to react to disappointment? And McClellan's going to have to really ask himself that same question, because they're going to be faced with some disappointment. It's going to be at least one tough season for both of these guys, you would have to guess. I don't think anybody, including you and I, believe that Toronto and Edmonton are two teams that might turn it around this year. Right?
Yes. Surprisingly enough, I'm not really worried about McClellan because he's used to losing, coming from San Jose.
That's
but,
true. I mean, yeah.
But Babcock, he never missed the playoffs.
Yeah, he's never. Yeah.
It's gonna be It's gonna be interesting seeing him with this kind of team.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's never been in this type of situation before.
Well, you live up there in the Great North, and
I do.
I'm sure you're excited about the media frenzy that's going to, especially in Toronto, TSN and all that stuff, that is going to be having a field day watching Babcock lose his mind progressively over the course of the year when they can't win games, when nothing he does seems to be working.
Yeah. They should document it. Call it Babcock's descent into madness. Or something like that.
That's right. We'll do a reality show. Call it Babcock's House. And we'll just have a ball. We'll make millions. We're going to be rich, man. It's going to be great. Yeah. Send your checks to Tommy C in care of Dead on Dave. There you go. So at the end of the day, though, do you think how big of a factor do you think Brendan Shanahan was to this decision process?
He was a part of it. I don't think he was the main part. I'm not sure. I don't have the facts, but I think he comes from Ontario, Babcock. Okay. So that also may be a deciding factor.
Yeah, he's never coached in Canada, from what I understand. Never coached in Canada, and so he gets to do that. So good for him on that. So let's peer into our crystal ball for a minute, Matty. Let's 5 years down the road, who does better with their choice of hire, considering that these two coaches have chosen their destinations 2 days within each other, which I don't think is by coincidence. Who does better in 5 years? Who's in a better position? Edmonton or Toronto? And are either of those coaches still with those franchises in 5 years?
It's difficult to say because Babcock, he's going to have a great system, a great defense. He's a great coach. And McClellan has McDavid. Yeah. So it's going to be pretty close. I don't know.
And he doesn't just have McDavid. He's got an offensive friggin' powerhouse of kids that can play. They just don't have a defense or a goalie. So they're probably going to have to make a move to shore up that. But Babcock, what does Babcock has? What does he have? He got Kessel?
Yeah,
I mean, that's good if there's a friggin' eating contest, but other than that, they're screwed.
Yeah, well, maybe if Shanahan can do a few trades, give him a few key pieces to the puzzle. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard for him.
To my knowledge, they still have not announced a GM down there in Toronto, right? I mean, Dubas, whatever his name, it's Dubas, right? Kyle Dubas. I believe he's still the interim GM. I don't think he's been tagged as the actual GM yet. Is that a little surprising that they hire a coach before, or is Dubas the guy?
Yeah, well, I find it surprising. You'd think it'd be the GM who hires the coach, but that's just to show how much respect they have for Babcock and how big they think he is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. There were a lot of front office moves yesterday, and another one happened to be for a team that also is used to getting to the playoffs that had a lot of disappointment this year, a team that I'm sure you love the misery of, the Boston Bruins. They also hire a new management position, but this time in the general manager capacity. Don Sweeney, who played 16 years in the NHL, was named the new general manager of the Boston Bruins on Wednesday. What do we think of that? Is he a suitable replacement for Chiarelli? And with Chiarelli, this guy was his assistant general manager. So what does that say? Did they want Chiarelli gone that badly to just go with his assistant GM? What does this move say to you?
Well, I think they wanted Chiarelli gone because of just these horrible moves he's done. And by putting his team in hot water when it comes to money and shit.
Right.
But unless the Sweeney guy could trade back for Seguin, I think that team is screwed.
Yeah, the team is screwed. Yeah. You guys mind if we just take Seguin back? It would be okay. I think that'd be okay. Okay.
Finders keepers.
That's right. Finders keepers, motherfucker. No trade backs. Had my fingers crossed. No trade backs. Yeah, you're right. The Bruins are in trouble. They're old, and that's They're old, and Chiarelli was refusing to go into full rebuild mode, which he should have at least started a couple years ago. And it doesn't make any sense to trade Sagan then, but, you know, he didn't do it. He thought this team was going to continue to soldier on and win games because they're the Bruins, and he was wrong. So, yeah, I think you're right. The Bruins might be seriously screwed here.
Yep. I think after their loss against Montreal, they're like, okay, our big bad system it isn't working. We're gonna become a fast skating team.
Yeah.
But they had to trade Seguin because apparently his attitude was crap. They traded Boychuk.
Drink and booze it up. Who cares?
Yeah, if that were the case with every team, then we would have traded Price on his rookie year, who apparently was doing cocaine.
Perish the thought of that. Don't ever talk about Lord Price that way. Ever. That's not even something to even consider, right? I mean, he is Carey Price. He's also on a golf course, but he is Lord Carey Price.
Carey Price, his first year, he used to be really, really fat.
Really?
Like, yeah, on a scale of like 1 to 10, he was fucking Phil Kessel. That's how fat he was.
On a scale of 1 to Dave, he was a full Dave. Is that what you're telling me? I think that's what that... Or he might have been a Jake. I don't know. I think I'm skinnier than Jake, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, Jake's... Who's taller? You're Jake.
I think he's shorter than me, too. I've never met him. I don't know. I only see him sitting at that fucking computer desk. I have no idea how tall the guy is. Jake, how tall are you? Let me know. Put it in the comment section below. And how fat are you, too? I want to know if I weigh less than you.
I'm pretty damn fat. I'm...
Oh, shut up.
Around... Dude, I have, like, dad's body, and I'm 19.
Do you want... You know how mad that angers me? It makes me so damn angry. You and Jeff Huffman battle each other on a daily basis of the most who's the most attractive of the shot from the point chuds, and you want to talk. Gee, we're all a bunch of ugly trolls, and you're telling me you're fat. Come on, man. You and Huffman are like should be just. I can just imagine you walk through the streets of your towns just batting the pussy away from your face, like nah.
The problem with me is that it's a special kind of fat. Because
what?
Let me explain.
Okay.
So when I eat, I'll never gain weight in this zone. Like I'm super fit in this zone. However, it goes all to my titties.
Oh.
It's like I'm a girl. It goes to my titties and to my stomach.
Okay.
So it's like a wave.
Well, now you know. At the very least, what we got out of this is we have a new nickname. You are no longer Matty Isis. You are Mammary Matt. Mammary Matt. There we go. I like that. Mammary Matt Kazara. That's good. I like that.
It's seriously like I know I was supposed to do a weight loss challenge with Tommy, but that kind of went to shit. So. Yeah, if ever you want to do one.
Yeah, I want to do one with Jake since we're both fat as fucking hell and we're probably going to die long before our children. Well, you should anyway, but I mean, we're going to die way too early in life. I'd love for him and I to do one. You just all you got to do is I don't know, walk more or something or you're perfectly fine.
I think I should. But yeah, something's wrong with me cuz I'd eat just as much as my brother. And my brother would stay like a toothpick and not just blow up like a balloon.
Been there, done that. Been there, done that.
Metabolism.
Back to the Bruins for a moment. The one thing I want to end with this Sweeney hire, or not even hire since he's been with the franchise for, this will be his 10th year. Doesn't this just seem like consummate Bruins work here? I mean, just staying the course, keeping with the same guys that's been in the system. You got rid of Chiarelli. You should have got rid of the assistant GM too, you would think. But they didn't. They're just still, we're the Bruins. It'll work out. We're Boston. Boston strong. Bruins strong. It's kind of arrogant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit arrogant. I don't think they're going to go anywhere with the players they have right now.
No.
I think they should make a splash and look, they should trade Chara because he's getting old. He's getting slow. And he makes like $6 million on his last year.
I think he's untradeable. I don't know what are you going to get for Chara. I mean, like, who's going to take Chara at this point? He's coming off of a year where his production was down. He was I believe he had injury problems. He's old as shit. He has a high salary on top of it. Who's going to take that? I mean, that's
just trade it to someone stupid like Columbus. They took Clarkson.
Well, you know, Babcock is up in Toronto. I'm sure they can use a giant like Chara, right? Let's see what they'll give up for him.
Yeah.
That'd be good times. And, you know what? Fuck it. Chiarelli is down in Edmonton. Trading to Edmonton. I'm sure he'll bite on that in a heartbeat. The conversation's happening now. Chiarelli to McClellan. I got a great idea. What could you do with Zdeno Chara? Come on. You know you want to do it. McClellan
they must
walks
have been
the
like
route.
best buddies for life for him to trade back for him.
Must be very good friends. Ridiculously good friends. I agree.
Did you see a couple years back the Sports Center Sports Illustrated Naked Edition with Chara?
Oh, the body thing? Yeah.
Oh, God.
Not as bad as Prince Fielder's. Prince Fielder was, I think that was just recently, too. That's a fat man, too. And I love the balls, though. We should do one of those. Shot from the point, the body issue. I'll do it. I don't give a crap. You guys can see my stretch marks. I don't give a fuck. Great.
Oh, my God.
Talking about a couple more moves here, let's go ahead and get to the other front office move, which is kind of surprising for some. Others maybe not as much. The Blues name Martin Brodeur, assistant GM. Yes, Uncle Daddy is staying away from the Devils. What the hell is that? Who would just explain to me and my hockey stupidity how this happens?
Well, I don't really know myself. Obviously, something like it ended on horrible terms at New Jersey. Probably had something to do with Lamorello, whatever.
Lou Amarillo.
Yeah. Luel. And
Luel.
I don't know. Something happened. He has a sour taste in his mouth. Yeah. And he only played, 10 games with the Blues, and he's sticking with them. It's kind of weird.
7 games, yeah.
7? Yeah.
7 games before he joined the front office as a senior advisor to the general manager. And look, this is a serious thing. He went and signed for 3 years, too, you know? I mean, first, I find it odd because, I still, seeing him in a Blues jersey was fucking bizarre last year. It was very weird for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know if ever really thought that Brodeur was a GM type of person. I mean, does he strike you as that? I mean, I know he's not a dummy or anything, but is he going to be a GM for a team someday? I mean, how is this going to work?
I don't know. Like Brodeur, God bless him. He was an excellent player, but it seems like just never knows.
Goalie to ever live, yeah.
Yeah, just never knows when to quit.
I always think of that Ernest, when someone says that Ernest scared stupid. He never knew when to quit, and the fucking teacher smacks the shit out of Ernest. I love that. Love that. There's your obscure reference for the day in the Crease fans. Ha ha. Yeah, so this is a weird one, man. I wonder what Huffman thinks of this.
Yeah, but sorry, back to Brodeur.
Yeah.
As I saw this on TSN, that in the preseason, I think last year, when the GM decided to not let him play at the same time as his son Anthony, apparently that really pissed him off because he really wanted to play with him. So like a once in a lifetime opportunity that happens. So I heard that really pissed him off. I don't know if it has anything to do with that though.
Well, I get him being upset at something like that, but at the same time, boo fucking who? You know, I mean, like, come on, really? That's gonna you've known one franchise your entire life, and they drafted your kid, for Christ's sake. At the very least, they drafted him. They didn't have to do that, but they do. And
which is a waste of a draft, by the way, because apparently he's not that good.
He's not good. He's no good. He can't play. He's on the team. He's no good. Jesus. But that wasn't enough. So this guy is that pompous, that arrogant, and that self-righteous that if that's the truth, that it's just another reason not to like the human being that Martin Brodeur is. Love him as a player, one of the, if not the greatest goalie to ever live, but as a human being, you suck, buddy.
Same, and something similar happened with St. Louis. He's in bad terms with his GM. Spent his whole career, well, almost his whole career on one franchise, and he decides to quit just like that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's it's a very strange thing. I mean, you see it in other sports where guys who have been with the franchise their entire life, some just want to keep playing, like Brett Favre. He would have played for a friggin' CFL team if they would have offered him when he still wanted to play. So that wasn't like a betrayal of Green Bay. But it's just bizarre. It's bizarre, Kazar. I don't understand how some of these things happen. This was one of those instances where I would not have written this up. Then again, I didn't think he was going to sign with another team. For one, I didn't think he could play no more. And I didn't think another team would take a shot at him. But he played for another team, which was shocking enough. And now he's the assistant GM for St. Louis Blues. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like when you win 3 or 4 Stanley Cups?
He's won, yeah, he's got a few cups.
I don't know. I'd stick with the Devils.
You know, it could be a sign that maybe Amarillo is not just leaving the GM seat. Maybe he's also going to be stepping down as president. Maybe his health is shitty, and without Amarillo, maybe he just doesn't want to be a part of that franchise. I mean, that could be it.
Do you remember that?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I remember that story that he was firing a bunch of people, and he was just sitting down on his chair laughing at them while they were leaving the building.
Oh, the many tales.
Super villain.
Yeah, you know what? You could almost see that though.
Yeah.
It's like it's an origin story. It's a super villain origin story. That's what we're saying. It's wonderful. You think it's because Amarillo signed that douche from Pittsburgh to be the new GM? Maybe that had something to do with it. I have no idea.
Sure, I have no clue.
I have no idea. We got one more story to talk about, and I saved it for last since it is, of course, the will of God, and these type of things are magical and mystical and all that good stuff. So we got to talk about the Senators giving the contract extension to the chosen by God goalie, the Hamburglar, Andrew Hammond. Getting a 3-year extension. He's going to average $1.35 million per season over the next 3 years. Of course, Hamburglar carried the Senators to a remarkable run this year and got him into the playoffs that nobody thought they were going to make. And at one point, he went 21-2 to get them to that point. So I ask you, even though he kind of fizzled out in the playoffs, is this a really smart move by Ottawa? And how much of this money goes to God?
Well, I don't know if it's a smart move because even during his 21-2 streak, I knew at some point he was going to fall back on earth. And I think in the playoffs, he showed his true colors. Yeah. And to sign him 3 years, got to think the team is just using him for free McDonald's.
That's right. We need those burgers to keep coming on the ice. Yeah. I like the move, and I'll tell you what, you might be right about the playoff thing, but at the same time, look, he's an older young guy, as I like to say, because he didn't get any playing time. He kind of came out of nowhere at 26 years old, which is, goalies can be late bloomers, so that's not a big deal. But he played out of his mind. You can't just say it wasn't him in the regular season, because it was. He had a stretch that he wasn't just standing on his head. So it's that, and maybe this was his first playoff experience, and it kind of got to him. He got lost in the lights, as they like to say. And we don't know what type of a player, but for the money they're giving him, which is not bad for a starting goalie, $1.35 million average over the next 3 seasons, you could be getting a hell of a player here. And of course, he is chosen by God, so that has to come into play, and that's important.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll be the starting one though, because they still have excuse me, that Swedish guy. I think his name is Leonard. And apparently he's supposed to be their number 1. But, just pray to God and hope that he'll make you great.
That's right. God is good. God is great. Please give this goalie a break. That's right. I made that shit up on the spot. I'm awesome. I'm pretty awesome. I have to admit.
It's pretty fucking good.
It's birthday magic, Matt Kazar. It's birthday magic.
Birthday magic.
Oh, goodness. It's crazy. So, okay, I think, you got any good stories out there in the hockey world that you can think of to get to?
No, it's been pretty, I'm sorry, I don't.
You got nothing. That's okay.
Mostly, most of what I say isn't even about hockey. It's just an embarrassing story about myself. Go back to Shot from the Point. All the episodes, I'm just talking about myself.
That's okay. That's why we love you oh so very much. It's good times. Oh my God, what was I about to say? I think we're gonna wrap it up then. I think that you're gonna be with me next week, correct? As well, right?
Yeah, not on Monday, but I'm finished on Monday, so starting on Tuesday.
That sounds good to me. So let's go ahead and cue that intro music, Fat Man.
All right.
Cue that music. It's not very loud. Tonight in the National Hokey Dokey League, we got Game 3 of your Western Conference Finals, where my Blackhawks take on those mighty Pokes in what is sure to be epic Game 3 as it shifts to Chicago. What do you think is going to happen tonight, Matty?
Chicago. It's I think Chicago's going to take it.
Chicago. Yeah, I think that game was huge. That game, winning that game in triple OT. But the only worry I have is that team being burned out, which is a possibility.
Yeah, well, both teams would be burned out after triple OT, I tell you that.
Very true, but Quinville really leaned on those top 4 defensemen, man. I mean, every single one of them played over 45 minutes.
Yeah. On Coach's corner, they showed Jalmerson, like, he was so tired he was about to throw up.
Yeah, they were all exhausted. Friggin', not Bickle, what's his name? Duncan Keith played almost 50 minutes. Can you imagine playing? I don't even think I've had sex for 50 minutes straight, and I love me some sex. So, pretty special times that he can out-sex me on the ice, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But other than that, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it doesn't.
It doesn't. Most of the things I say don't make sense. So make sure you guys check it out. 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in Chicago. We are out of here. Peace. We love you, Canada.